Ladies and gents, boys and girls, Wednesday, March the 1st, 2023. Hope you're all doing well. We made it to the month of March. Appreciate you all tuning in. Very excited to chat with you all here on this Wednesday. I see Noah John, Xavier, Brandon Ward, Andy Cohn. What is going on? Also, those in the Big Cock Club Discord. Head over to the TDC Questions channel. The TDC Questions channel. Be sure your questions are answered there. Again, really excited to chat with each and every single one of you. We have got tons to discuss and tons to get into. And of course, like I said, as always, we are taking your questions, your comments, your calls here at TDC 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377. Of course, guys, as always, TDC brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. Go down the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com. And when you do, use the promo code TSUS to receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Guys, they've got anything and everything you can think of. College sports, pro sports, you name it. They've got it. Also, of course, guys, again, we've reached the month of March. March Madness is officially upon us. Make sure you're playing with Prize Picks. You're going to be playing spreads, totals, futures, all that good stuff. Prize Picks, there'll be tons of money to be made there as well. So again, go download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com. And when you do, again, use that promo code TSUS to receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Be sure to check them out and tell them that Chris from the Spurs Up Show sent you. And my goodness, folks, we have got a busy one on the slate today. One of the busier Wednesdays, or really just one of the busier days I've had in quite some time. We've got TDC right now. This afternoon, I'm jumping on with Nachos and Analysis, a Clem Sucks podcast to talk all things Gamecocks and Tigers this weekend. Also, for tomorrow's podcast, we're doing the interview today, but later today, I'll chat with Mike Rooney of D1Baseball.com. He's also done some work with ESPN, stuff like that. A fantastic baseball mind. Again, that full conversation will be on the podcast tomorrow. And then tonight, I'm actually hanging out with Dawson Hoffman and the boys, former Gamecocks football player, going over to their studio, and we're going to do an interview, conversation, podcast, what have you with them. Going to be a really, really good time. But I'll be rocking and rolling, making content. Been doing so all morning, and we'll be doing so until the wee hours of the night. Going to be a really, really good time. And again, appreciate you all, your love, your support. Of course, it's officially now. It was already Clem Sucks week, but now it comes into the forefront as South Carolina takes care of business last night against North Carolina A&T, 11-3 in a game that, was a little bit interesting early, a little bit closer than we all would have liked, a little too close for comfort, but South Carolina able to pull away in that one and get the W. Also, of course, Gamecocks men's basketball last night falling to Mississippi State in a game that, again, was pretty close, but unfortunately the Bulldogs do pull away. South Carolina, though, does get the cover in that ball game. Good teams win, great teams cover indeed. Brendan, what's going on? Also, the SEC women's basketball tournament begins today. Of course, South Carolina does not play because it feels good to be good, right? We don't play on the first day of the tournament. There's a couple different teams. I have to look at the schedule. I'm not exactly sure. Let's see. Let's look at the bracket. Let's look at the bracket here. Who plays today and what times? Here we go. So it's actually on right now. Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, the 12 and 13 seeds are playing right now on SEC Network. And then later today, 25 minutes after the first game, Florida and Kentucky, the 11 and 14 seeds. Again, all the games will be on SEC Network. So 2 games today. Tomorrow, you've got a slate of 4 games. And then on Friday in the quarterfinals. It's crazy you just start in the quarterfinals. Like when you're good, you just start in the quarterfinals. South Carolina will play, of course, guys, at noon on Friday. Gamecocks will take on the Game 3 winner, which is the Arkansas and Missouri game, who play tomorrow at noon. So Gamecocks going to take on the winner of Arkansas and Mizzou. So by the end of TDC, basically tomorrow, we will know who the Gamecocks play in their first game of the tournament. So really, really exciting stuff, an exciting week. This morning, I flipped my calendar over to March and was setting the schedule and stuff like that. And March is going to be a crazy busy month, but it's a beautiful thing, right? The beauty's in the banter. Also, guys, hey, the spring tour begins this month. Yes, in about 3 weeks' time. I think exactly, actually, right? Exactly 3 weeks time? Yeah, exactly 3 weeks time, or 24 days, or excuse me, 22 days. I can't do math right now. 3 weeks from tomorrow, the TSUS Tour begins in Columbia, South Carolina. Really, really excited to get it rolling, guys. Looking forward to it. I'm pumped for the spring tour and all that will take place with that. Also, guys, I know that I teased the big news, right? The game-changing, business-changing, life-changing news a couple of weeks ago. That is still in the works right now. There's some litigation that's taking place behind the scenes. There's some negotiating that's taking place behind the scenes, if you will. So be patient with me. I promise I wasn't just pulling your leg. But yeah, really excited for that. Also, guys, hey, today, I forgot it's Wednesday. We've got Mark Ryan joining the show. Mark Ryan of the Fan Upstate. I've been going 1,000 miles an hour, and I almost forgot that Mark is jumping on the show. So, again, we've got Mark Ryan joining us in about 9 minutes or so. And it's so funny, by the way, to see – I see some people on social media, but, Mark Ryan, all of the content that he produces and all of the banter that he has, I mean, it does immense numbers. It does. Mark Ryan is an electric factory for content. And I see some people sometimes comment that, how do you allow this hack on your show? I'm unfollowing you, this, that, whatever. And it's like, dude, this business has always been built off of banter. It's always been built off of the willingness to have open-ended banter and sometimes, things topics that make you uncomfortable, what have you. And it's going to continue to flourish and grow and expand in that manner. So if you can't handle it, if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. It is what it is. But excited either way to get Mark Ryan on the show. Looking forward to chatting with him. Let's see. Let's jump into a couple of your questions before we get Mark on. Brian Dean, I see you. Joey80 says, what's going on? Been about 2 weeks since I've been able to watch. Joey, appreciate you tuning in, my friend. Thank you. Brian Dean says, it's funny how Clem Sucks fans made fun of us for losing Upstate last season, and they lost to them last night. Taters have lost 4 in a row. Yeah. It's crazy when you look at Clem Sucks and how everything's gone down, and especially, after the weekend and Eric Bakich saying that, the mouthy UCF team, and then you lose to Upstate. It's a mess right now for them. Hunter Kelly, what's up? Brennan M, see you as well. Brian Dean, even though men's basketball sits at 10-20, I see improvement in this team. A good foundation is being laid. Yeah, Brian, GG Jackson with a big night last night. I think most people are just done with basketball. I just, it's funny. Luke RJ commented in our Discord last night. And to be fair, I get where Luke RJ was coming from. But, I made the joke, do I have to watch the basketball game? And he said, yeah, it's your job. It's what you do, blah, blah, blah. But it kind of goes back to this, guys. I've realized that my job is not to, or my obligation to you guys, my obligation to my audience, what I've realized, it's not to, cover South Carolina men's basketball more thoroughly than anybody else. It's really not to, I'm not obligated to give the same level of analysis and evaluation and banter that I give to football. What I'm saying? It's not equal. It's not all equal. My obligation is to create the most entertaining content around the Gamecocks on a day in, day out basis. And so if nobody wants to talk men's basketball, well, guess what? I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Men's basketball doesn't really require me anymore to be covering it so thoroughly because nobody cares. Nobody cares. So to that point, that's something I've kind of learned and something I've sort of evolved with the business where, again, flexibility and efficiency are my top 2 priorities as an entrepreneur. And so you kind of learn what deserves your attention and what doesn't. You know what I mean? Again, it's not to say that we're not watching the basketball team or we just don't care at all, but it's also understanding, what do people want to talk about? What's engaging? What's entertaining to people? You don't just, and this is the first season, my first season of the Gamecocks, but my first season also as an entrepreneur. I'm understanding that, how to allocate time and be efficient with time and energy and all that good stuff. So anyways, Gamecocks men's basketball, if you're still watching at this point, God bless you. I watched it last night, but, brutal to say the least. Andy Coney says, why'd you stop with the intro music? Just had some issues with Facebook and stuff like that and copyright issues and just wanted to avoid it. So I apologize, guys, if you missed the music. I'm sorry. Yeah, Hunter, February did go by fast. It's also the shortest month of the year. So that would also probably explain it. Yeah, I did see that softball lost to Stetson. How about that? Jeff Gullidge, it is indeed March 1st. John Edward, what's going on? Appreciate you tuning in. Great to have you in, guys. Again, you see the hat. Clem sucks. The series is upon us. South Carolina and the Tigers will get it going on Friday. And let's take a look actually at what is the latest in regards to the weather projection here. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like chance of rain 80% during the day. It will be thunderstorms. Looking like at night, 40% chance of rain showers in the evening, then clear overnight. So, I think it'll depend on when you can start the game realistically, but, hopefully, obviously, fingers crossed, you get that game in. It just sucks, too, because it's beautiful Saturday and Sunday. Friday is the one day. I mean, you hope and you pray, and, again, you keep your fingers crossed that, Friday's not going to get canceled. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I just want them to play the game. You can't cancel that ball game. You cannot do that. So we'll see what they do. Yeah, Bruin Nation, I did see that, by the way, about Lenora Sellers, Brad Crawford, which, by the way, it's so funny. Again, speaking of Brad Crawford, he had the bowl projections, if you will. It's just so funny to watch people freak out. It's so funny to watch people freak out over, over way too early predictions of any kind, right? It's so funny to watch people freak out over that. It is. I don't know why people let content disrupt them to that level. I really just do not understand it. Brian Dean, Dawn Staley was at 10-18 her first season. Look at her now. Paris will build a winner. I mean, I agree. Listen, I'm confident. I'm confident Lamont Paris and what the Gamecocks have under him, and I do believe in that. He will build a solid program. I mean, only time will tell. John Edward, Braves play real games that count this month. Looking forward to another great season and going for a 6th straight NL East title. But yeah, Bruin Nation, I'm excited for Lenora Sellers, man. Excited for Lenora Sellers for sure. Savannah, there have been no game announcements weather-wise. I mean, I don't know exactly which game you're going to. I think you said Saturday. If you're just going to Saturday, you're in for a treat. It's going to be beautiful in Greenville. Going to be absolutely beautiful in Greenville. So looking forward to it. Yeah. Anyways, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. By the way, I was just informed it's Women's Month. So happy Women's Month in the month of March. I had no idea, but I was just informed. I feel like there's some holiday or it's this month, it's this day, it's this week. So shout out Women's Month. Make sure you tell all the women in your life you love them, you're appreciative of them. So it is Women's Month. How about that? How about Women's Month kicking off with the SEC Women's Basketball Tournament? I feel like it's a good way to kick it off. And of course, again, South Carolina playing on Friday. So let's see, Savannah, I'm not going, but I've made plans around the weather Friday and making plans to watch. Okay, I hear you. Well, anyways, yeah, the only one that's really in jeopardy, Savannah Webster says, happy Women's Month, Dawn Staley and company. Yeah, exactly. And the softball team and all the other women's sports. How about women's golf? I don't know if y'all knew this. The Darius Rucker Invitational is taking place down in Hilton Head right now. And the women's golf team that is ranked 4th in the country is leading. So I'm so happy that it was actually Miss TSUS that brought up Women's Month. I'm glad she did because that reminded me of what the women's golf team is doing right now. So shout out to the women's golf team. They are crushing. They are absolutely crushing right now. You love to see it. Todd Smith, what's up? He says, what's up, Gamecocks? Clem sucks. You're next. I love that. Anyways, guys, 843-790-3377. I am going to close up the phone lines because Mark Ryan is joining us here in the next couple of minutes or so. Should be any second now. Looking forward to chatting with Mark. It's always a good time, great conversation. And again, today is going to be a day full of great conversations. Really, truly looking forward to it. Again, we're talking with Nachos and Analysis. Yes, that is the name of the podcast. We're talking with Nachos and Analysis later today. I believe that podcast will probably drop on tomorrow. So again, talking with them on the Gamecocks and Tigers, the series this weekend. I'll also be doing, of course, my pod for tomorrow. We've got Mike Rooney That conversation taking place at 6 o'clock. That'll drop on the podcast tomorrow. Mike, a fantastic college baseball personality, fantastic dude. Cannot wait to chat with him. Of course, Mike Rooney at D1Baseball.com and has done some work with ESPN. Then, of course, talking with some former Gamecocks football players tonight at their place. Heading over to their studio. I'm going to chop it up, so it should be a good time. I think we'll probably talk a lot of business, a lot of life, of course, Gamecocks football. And I think we're going to get them on the show at some point as well. So, again, a lot of great stuff. I'm looking forward to it and appreciate you guys. Glad to have you along. Had a great conversation this morning. Also, we had a business call around 11:15 or so, and I was actually talking with those guys about content and business and stuff like that. And it's just, I've fully embraced it, but it's just so interesting how people want to, everybody wants to be a business partner during football season, but I think a lot of folks, they miss out on the value that is found. I feel like this is kind of the time of year, and you guys can correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I feel like this is the time of year where you kind of lay the foundation. Like, you show your consistency, right? You show your consistency during this time of year. Anybody can just talk football. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not coming after those that only talk football, because I get it. Football moves the needle. And there really isn't an offseason anymore in football because of the transfer portal. You got the NFL draft, you've got spring ball, you've got media days. Like, they're really, which is a beautiful thing. We love talking football. But, I feel like showing the consistency this time of year, this is kind of where you lay the foundation. I really believe that. So I love the fact that we're able to stay consistent all year long. And it's not one of those things where I'm like, God, I got to take off. I need time off. I'm able to take what I do on the road and do it remotely, do it from wherever. And that's why I tell people, man, I'm just actively retired. I mean, my life is one big vacation. I mean, to call talking sports every day doing a job, like to label it a job or label it as work, like I never say that. You know what I mean? I never say that. I just don't. So I appreciate you guys again making it a reality, the love, the support, and yeah, it's incredible, man. The life we're living. Again, we're waiting on Mark Ryan right now. He will join the show. He will join the show here shortly. Appreciate you all tuning in. Austin Greer says I may have jumped the gun on North Carolina A&T. I mean, Austin, hey, you were almost right. You were almost right, my guy. It was 4-3 late, but, kudos to the Gamecocks for finding a way late in the game. You draw 11 walks, 10 base hits. I'm really interested. I know we'll talk a lot about it also over the next 2 days for sure. So I'm not going to, I'm not going to, and tomorrow you guys will know my prediction for the series, by the way, but I'm not going to, we can talk about whatever. I'm not going to get too deep into it today, though, because, again, we've got the next 2 days, or really Thursday and Friday, we're going to hammer it. But I will say this, and this is something I'll dive into more over the next couple of days also as we get closer and closer to first pitch of the series. Clem sucks right now. They're down. They're out on a 4-game losing streak, losing last night to USC Upstate at Fluor Field, which, by the way, I say that as if USC Upstate's terrible. The Spartans are a good ball club. Like, that'll be a tough game for South Carolina. Like, if South Carolina plays the way they did last night, next Wednesday, I could see Upstate winning the ball game, right? With that being said, Gamecocks are 9-0, winners are 9 in a row. Clem sucks, has lost 4 in a row. So you look at the series, and I think most are going to say, oh, it's a sweep, automatic. My only objection to that would be this. Am I confident going into the weekend? Absolutely. Would anything less than a series victory be massively disappointing? Absolutely. I'll say this, though. One thing that I think makes Clem sucks a little bit dangerous is that right now they're a desperate team. And desperate teams can be dangerous, right? When you're playing with, at this point, do they have much to lose, right? They're in year 1 of their coach. They don't have much to lose. Their whole fan base is like, nobody's expecting to win this series. And so I'm not sitting here telling you that Clem sucks is going to win the series. Again, you'll know my full predictions tomorrow. But a desperate team can be a dangerous team. We see it across sports. So I think South Carolina is certainly going to get Clem Sucks' best shot. That certainly goes without saying. On that note, all right, let's go ahead and get him in. Mark Ryan of the Fan Upstate Offsides. Mark Ryan is live every single day, Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. He joins us now. Mark, what is going on, my friend? Appreciate you tuning in. Very excited to chat with you here on this Hump Day.
Chris, what is the worst thing you've ever done out of desperation? Okay. I once flew across country got one of those. You ever try to buy a plane ticket last minute? How they hit you with that, I'm still paying for that plane ticket. I try to buy a plane ticket last minute to fly across country to talk a girl out of breaking up with me when she had already broken up with me and didn't want to be together anymore. So don't buy a last minute plane ticket to try to talk a girl out of breaking up with you. I did that. Don't do things out of desperation, Chris. Don't do it. Now, she gave me permission to fly out there. I didn't fly out there to somebody who didn't say, don't come out here, but she did say it was over. I flew out there anyway. Don't do what I did, Chris. Don't do things out of desperation. Clemson baseball, don't act out of desperation. It's not going to be a good look for you. Hi, Chris. How you doing?
What's going on right now? What's going on, Mark? That's a great way to start it. I was going to say I plead the fifth in response to your question, but I will say probably the acts of desperation that come to my mind are more so like when I was gambling on sports, and you get into a position like, for example, March Madness is upcoming, and you start chasing, right? You miss one, and you're like, I got to get that one back with this, and it's a snowball, right? So you keep gambling, keep betting, and then of course you owe the bookie. So that's the most desperation I've felt, was on the gambling side of things and trying to chase wins, if you will. But Mark, we'll start with it, right? It's rivalry week on the Diamond. South Carolina and Clem sucks. The 3-game series beginning this weekend. Of course, I'm operating under the assumption we will get the game in on Friday. I know weather sort of questionable right now. Hopefully it's out of the way by 8 o'clock or so, and we can get this thing rolling. But I'll just first overall get your thoughts, Mark. I know it's not football, so it doesn't quite move the needle to that degree, right? Of course, when the football game's upon us, we spend the entire week talking about it. It's a really, really big deal. And you can feel the emotions and the energy of that literally on Monday, right? Like people's stomachs are already in a knot because what's on the line. But, your just overall thoughts and feelings coming into rivalry week, and, what you're excited for. I know you'll be at the game Saturday. It's going to be a beautiful day in Greenville at Fluor Field. But just overall, man, how you feeling as we enter rivalry week on the Diamond, if you will?
Man, it's going to be tremendous. Are you going to be there Saturday?
So I'm actually doing live streams for all 3 games. I'll be plugged into the studio. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I will be there at Fluor Field. This is, of all the sporting events that I've been to in the upstate, my favorite one. It was right after I moved here. I moved here January of 2019, so I've been here 4 years. That event, March of 2019, is still the best sporting event that I've been to. And I'm at sporting events all the time. I was at the Palmetto Bowl last year, right? Now, I'm a Gator, right? So, look, Clemson beating South Carolina beating Clemson, does it, like, as my own personal fandom, doesn't move my needle the way that it does yours. It's fascinating to be a part of the rivalry, right? Fascinating, but in terms of, like, my personal fandom, I don't go nuts when the Gamecocks beat Clemson. I don't go nuts when Clemson beats South Carolina. But that particular event, Chris, at Fluor Field, was like you had been placed in a time capsule, shot back to the 1940s, and it was just so incredible to see. You had half the stadium donned in orange and regalia, half in garnet and black, right? By the way, we had a show vote this week. Who has a better logo? Who has a better logo? And I know your listeners got a hold of that poll, and it was never the same after that. But I do want to let you know that yours truly and Diesel, my producer, both voted, but the Gamecocks have the better of the 2 logos. Look, man, I've had a very similar debate when growing up for me, Chris. Like, when I went to school, my school is orange and blue. Orange sucks. Orange is a god-awful color. Okay, when I wear orange, it looks like I'm jaundiced. Okay, it's just not a good color. So, like, my whole life, it's like, how the hell did Florida State get garnet and gold? That is so badass looking. What we look cartoonish next to that. How the hell is a Gator orange and blue? The Gator color scheme should be Hawaii's green and black. That's what fits with a Gator. Your color scheme fits your mascot. And when you have the black block C and the Gamecock in the middle of it, that is a badass logo, man. It is not easy. Let's be honest. It is not easy to make a chicken look fearsome. Okay. It is in the whole who wins versus the mascots. It wouldn't take long for the tiger to dispatch of a chicken, right? But you managed to make a chicken look fearsome, and you have the best logo. Now, I'm sorry, got off on a tangent. Really excited about this, Chris. Pumped up about it. I will be there. I cannot wait. Bringing the wife and kid as well. Going to be exciting, man.
On that note, Mark, I'm curious, comparing the Gators logo and Florida State, which would you say is better? Because I told you I actually like the Gators logo because it's unique. And I mean, I don't like the color orange, but I don't feel like it's too prevalent in that Gator head logo. But what would you, if you know, and I know you're someone that you're really good at taking the fandom out. So you're comparing the rivals logos, Florida and Florida State. Who would you go with?
I value those fans, Chris, who can take the fandom out and just make a spade. Like Florida State's logo is perfect, Chris. It is perfect. That is a perfect logo. Around the world, you show that logo and you know what people are talking about. Florida's logo is one that's changed. The Gator head is cool, Chris, but it incorporates a color green that does not exist in the color scheme. The color scheme has been flawed from the beginning, right? Your color scheme, everything is consistent. Now, if I could offer one piece of recommendation to the Gamecocks, it would be have a consistent logo and only use that logo. The multiple logos are incredible, but in order to become that iconic brand where you see the Georgia G or the Oregon O, you've got to use one that you stick with. The Florida State logo is perfect, Chris. And now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go cry because I've just said way too many nice things about the Seminoles, okay? By the way, the Seminoles have a better looking fan base than Florida's as well. A better looking fan base, Chris. I mean, it's insane. Like the talent on that campus. Let me tell you, the talent on that campus was something else back in the day, and it's alums, and it's the fan base. It was Brent Musburger when they showed the Cowgirls one day. You remember this? Brent Musburger, they showed the FSU Cowgirls, and he said 50,000 red-blooded American males just applied to Florida State University. Unlike anything you ever saw, especially back then, man. What's good?
Gotta love Brent Musburger. I absolutely love that. Back to the, it's interesting too, Mark. It is rivalry week in college baseball. You've got Georgia Tech. Florida's taking on Miami this weekend in Gainesville. That'll be a great series down there. And Florida's catching a lot of hype right now. Our good friend Ben Upton of 11.7. His I love people, by the way, Mark, that freak out over like way too early predictions and that content. It's just like, why can't you just see it and move about you? There's some people that I don't think there's anything that irritates them more than that. But his way too early field of 64, he's got the Gators, the number one seed. He's a believer in Florida. He thinks Florida is one of the best teams in college baseball, if not the best team. And I think he actually thinks they're going to win the SEC. So you're going to have a good reason to watch college baseball. And I'll ask you that too, because I know before the season, I was chatting with you and I was giving you my sales pitch on college baseball. And I know that you guys have been keeping an eye on it. Your thoughts on the overall madness, because I feel like that's something to appreciate the game. You have to really, again, enjoy and embrace is the true and utter madness. Like, it's a sport where USC Upstate can beat the Clem Sucks baseball team. It's a sport where Florida can lose to South Florida because they give up 7 runs in the top of the ninth. Like,
by the way, I don't have to use that word that you use on your show, do I?
No,
because 57% of our audience calls Clemson
at this point, it's
their
just
favorite
become
team.
At this point, I have just completely transitioned in my mind when I say it. I say
it's
Clemson.
Become second nature to
it really has.
Yeah.
It really has. It's a beautiful thing.
You know what, man? No, I think that's beautiful about college baseball. We had USC Upstate head coach Mike McGuire on the show last week, and they're building something there at USC Upstate. And every once in a while, Chris, you know this. You have the little guy in baseball who rises up and does something unbelievable. You've got Coastal Carolina's history and others throughout the sport. So I think that is a sport where you can absolutely positively achieve that. It does not bode well for Clemson heading into the series that is coming. I know you're trying to temper expectations, Chris, for this series, but I believe Clemson fans are bracing to take it on the chin. I believe they're bracing for that. And if I may add, is it just me, or might the Gamecocks be embarking upon a golden era in sports? I mean, think about big picture here, okay? Now, part of this involves a belief in Lamont Paris that many of you guys want to see, but I believe in him. I've studied his past. I've studied his history. I know what he did last year. You consider the historic run that Dawn Staley's on. Shane Beamer is recruiting at a level unprecedented in South Carolina football history. Might we be embarking upon a golden era of Gamecock sports, and a Gamecock era that coincides with Clemson being down, okay, largely across the board? What is Clemson's women's basketball program? Anyone? Fry, Bueller? Anyone? Men's basketball program, same thing, right? They're on the milk carton. Who are they, right? And Clemson's football program, more down than it's been in the last 7 or 8 years, right? So you put Clemson's baseball team rebuilding. You combine all of that. You combine the success of the Gamecock athletic program with Clemson athletics hitting a downturn. And I'm telling you, brother, your future is so bright you need shades. You could be embarking on that golden era of Gamecock athletics.
And Mark, on the note, and I do agree with you, by the way, it's really fun to watch. Also, Gamecocks softball is like 14-2 right now. So you mentioned them. Gamecocks women's golf is ranked 4th in the country. So yeah, I mean, hey, let's do something not many people want to do. Give Ray Tanner, the athletic director, a lot of credit. The health of the athletics department seems to be pretty good right now. But sticking with the rivalry series this weekend, Mark, a lot of fantastic storylines. And to your point, I'll lock in my predictions tomorrow, but it's one of those things where I think Gamecock fans should be confident. I mean, listen, I didn't think before the season that Clemsucks was a very good team. Obviously, right now, they've lost 4 in a row. You get swept by UCF on your home field. You lose to USC Upstate on a Tuesday night, which, by the way, I think Upstate's a good team. Right? They started the season. I think they won like the first 6 or 7 games or whatever. And so they're a quality ball club. South Carolina's got them at Fluor Field next week, and I think that's actually going to be a really competitive game. But they've lost 4 in a row. Gamecocks are perfect, 9-0, and I think South Carolina fans should be confident. I mean, I think South Carolina certainly could get the sweep. I think I was just speaking to, it's a rivalry series, and baseball is a crazy game, right? So it would not shock me if the Gamecocks lost one. But going back to, Mark, the storylines, we got to talk about it. You guys mentioned this on your airwaves this week, but the video that we posted of the UCF baseball team running down the hill and celebrating. And I knew somebody DM'd it to me, Mark, because it was on John Rice Plumlee's TikTok. And somebody DM'd it to me. And I remember seeing the video and I was like, this is going to go crazy. Like, I just knew. And it's got over 100,000 views on Twitter.
Oh, it's been massive.
The rest is history, right? So, and I know you guys, the conversation was onsides or offsides, and it's been a mixed reaction. I've seen some Clemsucks people that don't mind it. I've seen some that are like, UCF should apologize. And of course, Gamecock fans, I mean, we're just eating it up. You know what I mean? So your overall thoughts on that and sort of the madness. And then Eric Bakic's comments about a mouthy UCF team, and then they lose to USC Upstate last night. And I know that you kind of retweeted with like the eye emoji and you were like, look at this now. So just kind of overall thoughts of like the state of the Tigers program coming into this series, because there's a lot going on with them right now.
Well, I'm gonna go back to that running down the hill moment, Chris, here for a minute, because if you look at it through a certain light, and I know this is not really the platform to give Clemson credit for a lot, right? But the reality is that's a big deal because of what it's been built up to be. And Clemson football does get credit for creating something that is iconic, that literally everybody wants to do. If I was challenging Shane Beamer, I would say, what do you have, right? What do you have that is going to be something that everybody wants to do? Can you name that for South Carolina, Chris? I can't, right? I can't.
Yeah, I mean, hanging out by the cockabooses, maybe, I don't know.
Right. They've created the hill. They've created that, and they've created something that everybody wants to do. And not only did I have no problem with what UCF did, I would have done the same thing, Chris. And I'm trying to figure out how I can run down the hill myself, like film it, put it out there. You went to Clemson and you swept them. Okay. Now I know, Chris, I know a lot of athletic directors, and I know that was something that Clemson's AD Graham Neff discussed with UCF's AD, because that making it to social media was not supposed to happen. If you want to do, if you want to do a joyride, a victory lap, you do that without filming it. To post that on social media was spiking the football. but it made it all the more enjoyable for you, for me, for other fans to just be able to enjoy that, right? And Chris, would you not have done that? I would have done the same
I'm
thing.
considering
Clemson.
I'm considering doing that. I mean, I may just like sneak over there and trot down the hill. I would be certainly public enemy number one at that point. But no, it was
By
awesome.
the way,
Yeah, go
Lynn
ahead.
Turner on your comments here is saying, why was the opinion open? What I'm hearing, Lynn, is that for one reason or another, maybe renovations happening in the baseball stadium, they're having the visitors' teams showering in the football stadium. So they're already in the football stadium at Clemson. And they said, well, look what we have here. The hill, nobody is around it. Let's go right in. I'm also told that from time to time the gate is kept unlocked. And Chris, honestly, man, Beamer's kids ran down the hill. They didn't stop that from happening, right? So that is an iconic thing that everyone wants to take part of. It's on the bucket list, Chris. It's on the bucket list. I'll let you know the day that they let you and me in there. Okay?
Yeah. I will say, Mark, by the way, to what you mentioned earlier, the iconic thing that, because you asked me if I felt bad, but I would say the iconic thing that people do to troll South Carolina is playing of Sandstorm and waving the towel. So that would be something, but it's not in stadium like you're mentioning, but that's happened before. That's why we don't feel bad at all. And we actually love what UCF did. Back to on field with this series, Mark, I just love to get your takes overall on, we're talking about the Clemson side of things, but the Gamecocks, Monty Lee on staff, you've got former players that you brought from the Tigers on your team right now, may or may not play in the series. But, I talked about this in the preseason, but I'd love to get your thoughts. Just the overall importance of this series for Mark Kingston and his ball club and his program, because, as well as I do, right? You sit 9-0. Are you getting as much credit as maybe Gamecock fans would like? Maybe not, but again, you haven't beaten. I mean, I think you beat a solid Penn team. Getting the sweep, I thought, was an accomplishment. But you and I both know what matters is what you do against the rival and what you do in SEC play, right? I mean, that's really what is important, or what moves the needle for a lot of people. So, your just overall thoughts going into this weekend. Again, you added Monty Lee, former Tigers head coach, and all these different pieces from their team, and I just feel like there's an extra emphasis on the rivalry series this year, especially after last year when they swept you, right? And in such a year where, hey, we've seen it time and time again, you can lose 2 of 3 in this series and still have a good year. But I just feel like, Mark, for Mark Kingston to win back some favor from the Gamecocks fan base, this is one I think the Gamecocks, and especially now too, with they've lost 4 in a row, you're undefeated. This is one, it goes without saying, that is massively important. I think one that this program needs to have.
Chris, you can start 9-0 and you lose this series and you've lost any goodwill that you've built up into this point. Furthermore, if you lose this series, the only way to rectify it in the mind of Gamecock fans, in my opinion, is to make the College Baseball World Series. So, I mean, it's not life or death, Chris. It's far more important than that, right? This series coming up for the Gamecocks and for Mark Kingston, because you're either gonna be high on the hog the entire year, or you're gonna have an axe to grind with your head coach, waiting to see what happens in the postseason. It is massive, Chris. It is massive, and everyone wants to see if he can continue the momentum that Beamer started with the upset win over Clemson. And frankly, when I moved here, Chris, it was very much feeling like the Gamecocks needed a win at something, right? At something in this rivalry. Now you have that big win in this rivalry. The thing that Gamecock fans have always come back at Clemson fans with on my show, our show, Fans the Flame, of both sides of the rivalry, is that Gamecock fans would say, well, Clemson has football, we've got everything else. And now that Clemson football has fallen from like number 2 in the country to number 12, right? Now you've got a chance to claim that football category, which you've done this year, and still maintain everything else, right? And I understand that many people could make an argument that the Gamecocks have a better athletic program than Clemson does. But when you understand the importance of football, both culturally and financially, it's tough to make that argument when Clemson has dominated that rivalry as much as they have. When you've got everything else and football, brother, now you're like butter because you're on a roll. And that's what South Carolina has a chance to do this weekend.
Yeah, and you and I both know, Mark, that when you talk about like the health of the rivalry and what matters, and I mean, football is king, right? I mean, football moves the needle, and so winning that one, and I was just thinking about while you were talking the health of this rivalry overall, and I think like this time last year, the past couple of years, like even if you were winning in other sports, that long losing streak on the gridiron, it was really taking its toll. You know what I mean? And that was that's why one of the biggest storylines going into that rivalry game every year on the football side of things was, is this the year you snap the streak? This time last year, Mark, we were talking, is the streak going to get to double digits? Are they going to win 15 in a row? Like, you start to get to a point where you feel like you're never going to beat them again. And it just feels like, that football victory now has turned the tide in regards to you beat them in football, you beat them in men's basketball, you beat them in women's basketball. If you can get them in baseball, I think obviously it's healthy for the Gamecock side of things, but the rivalry definitely feels healthier now, because maybe some of that crowing that had left some fans has certainly come back, and you see it every day on social media between the Gamecocks and the Tigers and the fan bases. And I know you see the chirping and you hear the chirping all the time. I think it's great for the rivalry.
Well, not only that, Chris, I mean, I'm sure you've heard the reports that Clemson and Florida State have gone back to the ACC and said, we're down $30 million a year from SEC teams. You better figure out a way to get us $20 million of that back. You don't think that mandate was hastened by the fact that South Carolina beat Clemson? You think they want to be losing to the Gamecocks and then have the Gamecocks getting $30 million more a year than they're getting right now, Chris? I guarantee you that the Gamecocks beating Clemson lit a fire under Graham Neff to try to level that financial playing field. They want an uneven revenue stream in the ACC because their argument is, we are your lifeblood. Without us, Clemson and Florida State, you guys are the all cupcakes conference, right? So it is up to you guys to pay your best employees, right, the most money. And the Big 12 did that for a minute with Oklahoma and Texas. Uneven revenue sharing, that hasn't been the SEC's model. Vanderbilt gets as much as Alabama does, right? So I think the Gamecocks' success, I don't know if panic is the right word, but it has absolutely sent a jolt of urgency through the Clemson athletic offices.
And it's wild how just football can do that, right? Just one game is all it takes to really turn the tide. Sticking with the football side of things, Mark, it was announced this week. Gamecocks spring game officially will take place Saturday, April the 15th, and it will be a nighttime spring game. Yet again, 7 o'clock kickoff under the lights, which I think is a genius move. And you and I both know that, it feels, Mark, the build up to the spring game is more exciting than the spring game itself, right? We get all excited. You mentioned, right, get back in the stadium. You're not in your stadium very often, so to get in your stadium and tailgate and be surrounded by Gamecock fans is an incredible experience. But the game itself, most of the time, is your starters only play 2 or 3 series, and it's not really a real game a lot of the time. But I think it speaks to, again, Shane Beamer being sort of a master marketer of his program. And it feels like such an easy, simple, no-brainer move, but it hasn't been done before. And so I think, again, it speaks to Beamer and it's just what he's building and being able to market the Gamecocks football program. And your overall thoughts. I mean, do you get excited for spring games, Mark? Is that something that moves the needle for you at all?
I did, Chris. I did. And then I think, I'm sure you would agree, much like the Pro Bowl and All-Star games, it's kind of fallen by the wayside, right? And the reason is that we don't have time as Americans anymore for things that don't matter, right? At some point, we made the determination that spring games and even bowl games, not to me, bowl games matter to me, but bowl games don't matter to other people. So we don't have time for things that don't matter. MLB has sped up the game recently, right? We've realized that time is our most precious resource. But what Shane Beamer is doing, I can subscribe to. And there are always going to be schools, Chris, that don't take it seriously. But if you make your spring game a competitive environment where, another thing I would do, Chris, is I would publicize the depth chart. I would let people know what positions are up for grabs. I would let the fan base know who's competing for those positions. And then I would say, watch the battles play out in our spring game. Let's create a massive environment and who rises to the challenge and who shrinks from the challenge. Use the spring game as a barometer to decide some of these position battles. If you sell it like that, you make it a night game. You incentivize everybody to come and make it a raucous atmosphere and a raucous environment. You don't have to go the way of the rest of these spring games, man. It's like a picnic scrimmage. All these other spring games, Chris, are a picnic scrimmage, right? Why does yours have to be that way? Yours can be great. Yours can be electric. You don't have to sign up to whatever everyone else is doing. And so in that respect, I love what Beamer's doing, and I hope he takes my advice. Build the urgency. Build the intensity in that. Here's who's vying for a starting position. Let's see how they do in the spring game. Here are the two contenders. One survives, one will lose. In everything we do, there is a winner and a loser. If I'm Beamer, I build that up, man, because that pressure is only going to benefit your team in the long run.
Good luck selling that to college coaches, Mark.
Why not?
I know. No, I agree. I agree. But I get where you're coming from. You're approaching it and attacking it as it is a product and the entertainment value and the entertainment side of things. I don't know that these college head coaches necessarily. I mean, I think they look at it as a glorified scrimmage, and they probably wouldn't even open it up if they didn't have to. I hate to say that, but I feel like coaches are so anal about everything, and it's like, I get where you're coming. I wish they still had like open practices. I remember the days of Steve Spurrier and open practices, and it was a blast getting out there and seeing the team. But
when Spurrier was the coach at Florida, he had open practices. I took my dad to a Steve Spurrier open practice at the University of Florida. Yeah. Steve Spurrier, whether it was confidence, cockiness, or arrogance, his mindset was, you can see what we're doing. You're still not going to be able to stop it. You can see what we're doing. I got no problem with that. By the way, Madison Duncan says, use the spring game as a springboard for competition. I like it. Braddock 843 says, curious Mark's thoughts on spring game scrimmage with out of conference that they don't normally play. Example, South Carolina versus Oregon. Chris, I am tired of the FCS games. I'm tired of them. If we are doing this, if South Carolina and Clemson are agreeing to float the FCS a paycheck every year, I'd like to see that as the spring game. Honestly, float them a check in the spring game. 12 games in the regular season. We don't get enough of these games to have an FCS game being one of them, in my opinion. We don't get enough games for that. So I would give the FCS teams the golden parachute in the spring game and have it be a competitive game. It would be far more competitive than the scrimmage you get, right? I mean, let's be honest. You got Furman coming to Columbia for a spring game. Furman wants to beat you. The Gamecock players don't want to hear for 4 months that they lost to Furman in the spring game, right? So now that becomes a competitive environment, a competitive game where it isn't right now. I'm Mark Ryan, and I approve this message.
That would, I think that's actually a genius idea, Mark, mentioning that. Again, will it ever happen? But it's interesting, Mark, because in baseball, baseball teams scrimmage in the fall. I mean, they'll scrimmage each other. I mean, South Carolina scrimmaged Georgia Tech, UNC Greensboro, UNC Wilmington. That would be, I don't know, again, how we make that happen, but I think that would be really, really cool. I actually think that would be a great idea, because then, you're not doing like South Carolina and Georgia scrimmage, and there's these false bragging rights of a game that didn't technically count. Like if you scrimmage, like you mentioned, like an FCS team, there would be a lot of positive benefits of it.
Well, here's the thing,
Chris, I'm down. I'd love to see it. I
looked into that rotation that, Clemson and South Carolina play an FCS school every year, right? And they rotate who they play. That's not mandatory. That is not mandatory. They're doing that as a favor to the FCS schools. And because it's been a favor for a number of years, it is now regarded as something that's like pseudo-mandatory, right? Like you kind of have to do it. Well, I'm not a subscriber, Chris, to unwritten rules. If you want me to follow a rule, you damn well better put it in writing, or I ain't following it, brother, right? So what I'm doing is I want a more competitive spring game, all right? And I know if I'm playing a team that actually wants to beat me, I'm going to do that, right? The downside of that, Chris, is imagine Clemson and South Carolina do that. They show up and they half-ass their spring game and the FCS beats them. Now that's going to change preseason expectations, right? That's going to change your preseason poll ranking. Fans are going to have to digest that for 4 months until the football season begins. So you know what's going to happen? Every once in a while, the Oregon of the world is going to lose to the Washington states. I mean, the Eastern Washington.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, Oregon is going to lose to the Eastern Washington. And it's going to motivate the hell out of them, and it's going to create a competitive spring game environment, which is what we all want. Give us what we want, ladies and gentlemen.
Give us more of what we love. I agree with you, Mark. Mark, again, we're definitely going to push that. That's Clip City, my friend. How do we improve spring games? Mark Ryan has the solution, because again, it's something that nobody wants to talk about, that spring games are pretty boring. As much as we love our team, they are. Anyways, Mark, this has been fantastic. One last thing before I get you out of here, and you knew I wasn't going to get you out of here without asking. South Carolina Clem sucks, the rivalry series, off what you know, who you picking?
Okay, so let me ask you this. All right. If this is a win but not a sweep, how do you feel?
I think it's a successful weekend. I'd still be happy. As long as you win the series, I'd be happy with it. Yeah.
I'm encountering a lot of Gamecock fans who seem to have a sweep or bust attitude. And I want them to just maintain, you win the series, you win the war. Okay. And I think right now, based on what I've seen, Chris, Clemson would be fortunate to win a game. Based on what I've seen, they would be fortunate to win a game. Based on the passion and the rivalry, I'll go Gamecocks 2-1. Okay. But I think Clemson would be very fortunate to win a game based on what I've seen thus far in this series.
Yeah. And Mark, I just think when you get into a point, if you get to a point in college baseball where you say you'd be disappointed if you won the series, like I get that when you're playing Bethune-Cookman. I get that when you're playing UMass Lowell. But that would just be a weird mentality, in my opinion, to have after, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I agree with you. And again, I think South Carolina, I mean, when you look at the weekend, and I haven't locked in my prediction, because you look at all 3 games, I'm like, well, which starting pitcher for the Gamecocks is going to lose? I mean, I don't know. I mean, is it like you're making a bold prediction no matter which game you pick as a loss if you do pick one. So I tend to agree with you. But yeah, I'm very wary of entering any series for that matter. I mean, even Penn, if you'd have won 2 of 3, I would have said it was a quality weekend. You won the series. Like when you get to a point where, and I will say this, Mark, the point that I had, and I don't mean to go off on a rant, but the biggest difference between a good team and a team that has a chance to be better than good, great, if you will, is a team that when they get up 2-0, they can win that 3rd game. And they can capitalize and get a sweep when the opportunity is there. Right. Not a lot of teams can do that. You know, there's just some teams that on Sundays, right, you're on your 3rd pitcher. A lot of teams don't even have a Sunday guy. They're scrambling to find. So when you got that level of depth, right, where you can get the sweep, you know, that's a big deal. So for example, if South Carolina won the first 2 games, then lost game 3 at home at Founders Park, it'd be a little disappointing. It would, but you don't come out of it on Monday and say, well, we're just fire everybody because we didn't sweep. So I just wanted to make that point. I think you get into a dangerous place when you start being upset that you didn't sweep versus winning 2 out of 3. That's an interesting spot to be in. So,
look, college baseball versus MLB, Chris. Yeah. I've looked at the last 5 World Series champions. The last 5 World Series champions have on average won 62% of their series outright. Okay. So if it was a 3-game series, they won 2 out of 3. A 4-game series, they won 3 out of 4. The percentage of outright wins, the last 5 World Series champions, is 62%, right? So I understand college baseball is different. There's less parity. That number needs to be higher. But if you're winning series, brother, if you don't lose a series all year, guess who you are? You're the national champion, okay? If you don't lose a series all year, you are national champion. And that should always be the focus. And sometimes fans can have blinders on, become prisoners of the moment. Always widen the lens. Always look at the big picture, okay? Yeah. If you sweep Clemson, man, you have really spiked the football even more than UCF just did, right? If you sweep them. If you win the series, you continue the upward trajectory of the athletic program, and you have Clemson fans starting to say about themselves, God, South Carolina athletics is kind of they're kind of taking it to us every which way, 6 ways to Sunday. What is happening right now, right? Then, right? So you got them in basketball. You got them in men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, football. Chris, I mean, the urgency is kicking in, and you're seeing Graham Neff at Clemson concerned about that urgency, demanding more money because he sees what's happening. He doesn't like losing to the Gamecocks in every single athletic endeavor. And that the pressure, you sweep Clemson this weekend, the pressure is on Clemson athletics moving forward.
Yeah, I was going to leave you with this. If Eric Bakich thought that UCF was mouthy, just wait. just wait if things go the Gamecocks' way this weekend. Mark Ryan of the Fan Upstate every single day live offsides of Mark Ryan 3 to 7. Be sure to check him out and follow him on social media at Mark Ryan on air. And of course, follow the station channel at the Fan Upstate. Mark, I appreciate you taking the time, man. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you guys very much. Love you. We'll see you next week. Have a great week, everybody.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Mark Ryan of the Fan Upstate. Great stuff there. And again, if you're at Fluor Field Saturday, Mark will be there in attendance. So don't chirp him too hard. Let him enjoy himself. Let him enjoy the game. Guys, we're going to jump into our first break on the other side. Hey, we're going to open up the phone lines because I want to hear from you. 843-790-3377. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking the questions, comments, calls. 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377. Of course, guys, podcast will drop tomorrow. Will be a full preview of this weekend series as South Carolina takes on the Tigers of Clem Sucks. Of course, game 1 at their place Saturday, game 2 in Greenville at Fluor Field. And then on Sunday, we come back to Founders Park to close out the series and hopefully be closing out a sweep. Really excited again to chat with you guys. Phone lines are now open. I want to say thank you to Mark Ryan. That was a fantastic segment. And I'll tell you this, I loved his idea on the spring game thing. I love that. I absolutely love it. Do I think it'll ever happen? Probably not. But I love it. Doing something like that with another team. I mean, does it have to be a full-fledged game? Not necessarily, but I think that would be really cool. I think that would be really cool. And again, I don't have high hopes or high expectations that it'll happen, but we'll see. That would be really, really dope. Anyways, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Austin Greer says it's a terrible idea. Austin, give me some more. Why? Give me some context. Jonathan Hall says, if anyone's attending Friday's game and Clem Sucks for baseball, be aware of construction and parking. Some construction's being taken in the west end zone lot across the street where many have parked before. Okay, good to know if you're going to that game. He also says softball scheduled to play at 4 p.m. Friday at their place. Let's see, Austin. Spring games aren't supposed to be for entertainment. It's for the players and coaches. Horrendous takes. Arguably the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Maybe non-contact scrimmages, but not full contact. Why, Austin, why do we have to be so careful with football? Like, why can't we just play the game? If you're scared, don't show up. If you want to opt out, opt out. I'd watch the young guys play in an actual game. I'm sure that would be the case. I'm sure a guy like Spencer Rattler wouldn't play in the spring game. He barely plays in it anyway. So what's the difference? He barely plays in it anyways. I don't think it's going to happen. I understand what the purpose of a spring game is, but and to your point, Austin, you're right. Coaches don't care about entertainment. They don't care about any of that. They don't care about any of that. So I understand it. That's why I think it will not happen, but Austin, name one benefit we will get from playing Furman 4 months before the season. It'd be fun. Austin, name one benefit we get as fans from watching our own team scrimmage each other for 30 minutes. What benefit do we get in that? It's yeah. Anyways, I appreciate spring games for what they are. I'm not saying that like spring games need to be fixed. They need to be solved. Like this is some pressing issue, but if you're asking me, how could we improve the product that is a spring game? Because that's what they've turned it into a product, have they not? You wouldn't have a spring game at night and worry about when it's being played and all that if you weren't worried about the product. So anyways, guys, 843-790-3377. I'm so happy we're able to chat with Mark Ryan on the baseball side of things. Really looking forward to this weekend, guys. Looking forward, like I said, we'll break it down more so in depth tomorrow and Friday. Excited, man. It's the best rivalry in all of college baseball, simply put. I think about growing up, watching the game, and it's weird. I have a respect for the Tigers on the diamond more than I have for them in any other sport because they've been a great program, just like South Carolina. Well, not just like South Carolina, but you know what I mean. The thing that's made it the best rivalry in all of college baseball has been the success of both of the programs, right? I look back, mid 2000s and, South Carolina's a top 10 team. Clem sucks is a top 10 team. You think of all the great players and Ray Tanner versus Jack Leggett. And, you think of the intensity and anybody who's ever been to these games. I mean, it's literally the super regionals in March. Like you're hanging on every single pitch. The fans are into it. There's chirping, there's back and forth. And if you've never tuned in to South Carolina Clem sucks on the diamond, if you've never experienced that rivalry, you really need to. And I'd put it up against any rivalry in college baseball. I mean, it's electric. I mean, it's absolutely electric for 3 straight days. And, I love the format they have right now with 1 road, 1 home, and 1 neutral site. I know they're playing with the neutral sites, obviously, but it's one of those things, again, I look at, and it's the rivalry is a beautiful thing, man. I get so fired up for it and so excited. And, I get into the baseball side of things, the rivalry, just as much as I get into it with football. And I know not everybody can say that. That's totally fine. But for me, it's a really cool thing, man. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun, and looking forward to another great weekend, another great chapter in the rivalry, if you will. So, let's see. Yeah, I was at that game, Jonathan Hall, 2012. Gamecocks walked off the Tigers in extra innings. It was LB Dantzler that got the hit. LB Dantzler that got the hit. Really, 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 really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. So, yeah. Austin. All right. We're getting to we're you're speaking on something we can agree with. He says, I prefer we do no non-contact. Are you saying we do non-contact or no non-contact scrimmages with other schools? Like, I think he says non-contact with other schools, like 7-on-7s and 1-on-1s for O-line, D-line. That would actually be kind of fun to watch. I think 7-on-7 would be a blast. I think 7-on-7 could be a lot of fun. I tell you this, though, the trash talk that would ensue from 7-on-7, because it's not real football. Like a lot of 7-on-7s is not real football. So, Will Hall, do you know if they may expand the neutral site game outside of Greenville? It's been there for a few years now. Come back to Charleston. Well, I mean, they literally played in Columbia last year. It's alternating right now between Greenville and Columbia. So next year, right, the neutral site game will be at the Fireflies Stadium in Columbia. So, it's funny, though. I will say this, that Gamecock fans, we used to not have a problem with Greenville, and then we started losing that game every year, and it was like, you know what? This is actually kind of a home game for them, which I mean it is. You know what I mean? You're 30 minutes from their campus, so I mean it's definitely more of a home game for the upstate team. But there are a lot, like I've told you guys, there's a lot of Gamecocks up here, lot of Gamecocks. So, I think you'll see a great Gamecock representation on Saturday. Let's just put it that way. I think you'll see a great Gamecock representation. And Austin, yeah, to your point, I think Floor Field is nicer than Segra. I do. I mean, Segra's nice. Don't get me wrong. It is. Floor Field is a little bit nicer, though, I will say. Yeah, for sure. So, again, guys, 843-790-3377. Phone lines are opening, and I appreciate Mark Ryan for the conversation. Great stuff. Check out his show, of course, 3 to 7. Offsides of Mark Ryan. I'm on his show every Monday at 4:40. Always enjoy talking with him. Let's see. Madison, is any recruiting during the spring game allowed? I think so. Don't take my word for it, but I think so. Jacob E. says, spring game showed us that Jason Brown should have been QB1 year before last. God, let's just not even dive into that, man. Let's just not even dive into it. Let's just not even dive into it. Brady, I've never been to a South Carolina game. I really hope I can make one this year coming up. Are you talking for football? Great year to come to a game, my friend. Great year to come to a game. Back to the Big Cock Club Discord, TDC Questions channel. Greg Bedinger says, Mark's right again. I'm sick of all the FCS games that all the Power 5 schools play. Complete waste of our time, in my opinion. I don't hate it. But I see where you're coming from. Matthew Calver going to the game Saturday in Greenville. It's going to be fire indeed. Going to be a lot of fun, man. The atmosphere will be electric. I'm really excited personally to do the watch parties. I'm really excited to do the live stream watch-alongs. And in case you missed it, we'll be doing that all weekend long, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll be streaming it right here, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. The setup's going to be a little bit different. I will move some things around, and you guys will see me, but the setup is going to be a little bit different. I'll have the game on the TV behind me, but of course I will not have the game shown on the screen because that is illegal, and the stream would get ripped down. So going to be a lot of fun, though. We'll be watching the game together. I did the live stream watch-alongs, guys, back in the 2021 season. I thought they went really, really well. The fact that we were able to interact and chat and conversate during the game and stuff like that. So really looking forward to it. Going to be a lot of fun. I think, again, it's going to be a major value add, and just being in studio and being plugged in and being able to create content in that way, I think is going to be a big time add for the show, for the business, and for you guys, most importantly. So let's see. Coleman Hall, I think FBS Power 5 program should be limited to one in-state FCS opponent per year. Other than that, no FCS games. I hear you. Yeah, I mean, I get it. We don't want to see bad games. I get it. Like 2020, for example, it was the COVID year, but just seeing 10 SEC games. Seeing 10 SEC games was fun. It was good football every week, right? It was good football every week. So really good football every week. Again, guys, in case you missed it, on GamecockCentral.com, courtesy of an interview they had with Shane Beamer, it appears Jordan Strawn, which, I mean, I expected him to return. I expected him to return, but it appears that Jordan Strawn is going to be back this season. Strawn never put out any official word, and it's funny because somebody in our Discord was like, why should he have? It's that's the old school mentality. Like he should definitely, you don't need to put something out. But again, like you just mentioned, that's the old school mentality. Most guys are making a big deal. I'm back, let's run it back and whatever. So we never saw that from him. And but it does appear that Jordan Strawn will return for the fall, which is a big piece, a really, really big piece, right? A really big piece. Gamecocks need all the help on the edge they can get. So, let's see. Brendan is all for it for the spring games. It's an actual game. That's the benefit. Josh Pate has been all over this concept. Indeed. I agree. I agree with you, Brendan. I think it'd be a great idea. I don't think it'll ever happen. I don't think there's any. I just don't think it'll ever happen. I don't think it'll ever happen. So it is what it is. But yeah. Anyways, guys, really excited. 3 weeks from tomorrow, the TSUS tour, the spring tour, will officially get underway. Our first date in Columbia. Next one will be downtown Greenville. Those will be our 2 in the month of March. And then we'll roll through the entire month of April. Really, really exciting. Really exciting. Yeah, so again, guys, Gamecocks baseball gets the dub last night. Basketball falling to Mississippi State. I tell you this too. Looking ahead this weekend, Saturday, probably nobody is going to be watching it, right? But men's basketball has a game on Saturday. And I believe it's at 1 o'clock? Is that, or 2 o'clock maybe? Let's see. When does basketball play? Men's basketball. When does basketball play here? Men's basketball plays Georgia at the CLA at 1 o'clock. So it's the same time as the baseball game. So realistically, nobody's going to be watching. Just call it for what it is, okay? But it's a big game. It's a big game because when you and if you lose, is it the end of the world? Whatever. The season's a kind of a wash, anyways. But when you asked me about year 1 of Lamont Paris, when I was asked about that, and we all knew, right? We set realistic expectations. Let me actually look back. I want to look back. What were my basketball predictions for the season? Let's see. Can I find it? Let's see. How can I find this? Oh, come on. All right, let's see. I'm going to find this. I'm going to find this. When would it have been? October, maybe? Well, where I don't know. I want to see because I think I was pretty close. I think I was fairly close in regards to predictions for the season. Let's see. I can't find it for some reason. I found 2021. Madison, what games on March the 23rd? Yeah, so I do not know, Madison. I don't think we play March the 23rd. I don't think baseball plays March 23rd, if I recall correctly. No. So the next day we're in Columbia for the Missouri series. But that following week, that Thursday, March 30th, we play at Mississippi State. So that'll be one where, we'll get there, we'll chat a little bit, we'll conversate, and then we'll watch the South Carolina Mississippi State baseball game together because that game is actually on SEC Network on that Thursday. It's actually on that Thursday. So, I know how I can find it. Here we go. Just go to lock it in. Let's see. Let's see. You know what's funny? I actually picked Clem Sucks last year to win 2 of 3. Isn't that wild? I picked them to win 2 of 3. And of course, we all know what happened. Where is the basketball season preview or season prediction? I'm just really curious. You guys bear with me. I just want to see like how right or how wrong was I? And not to be like, oh, I was right. Look at me. I'm just like, I forget. Like, I think I was pretty close. I know what it is. Yep. Here we go. The lead pipe lock. That's what it was. Never forget when yours truly picked the win over Clem Sucks. Very few were brave and bold enough to pick that. Why can I not find season predictions? I can't find it for some reason. This is nuts. Did I make a season prediction? This is great content right here. I don't know, guys. I'm going to try to find it over the break. We are going to jump into a quick break. I'm going to try to find these predictions. I'm just curious to look back at this point. 843-790-3377. We are taking your questions, your comments, your calls, and more on the other side. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking the questions, comments, calls. 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377. You know what's wild? I still can't find the predictions. I'm like, at this point, I'm like, did I make predictions for the basketball season? I don't know that I did. I think I did. I'm positive I did. I know I did. That's something I wouldn't have not done. I'm seeing a projected starting five. I don't know, guys. I might just have to give this up. I don't know. This is crazy. I do not see it, though. I'm on our Instagram, and I cannot find it. Anyways, I think we all had pretty realistic expectations when it comes to basketball. And weird. Very, very, very strange. I just said to hell with it. No basketball predictions. We're not talking basketball anymore. I don't know. That's so weird. I just can't believe this. I cannot find it to save my life. It's crazy though, man. Scrolling back through all of our football content from this past season. I mean, what a season it was. You know what I mean? Like, what a season. What a season. It's absolutely incredible. It may have actually been farther back. What a season it was, guys. What a season it was. Anyways, 843-790-3377. Guys, would love to hear from you all. Appreciate you all tuning in. Really, really excited for the weekend. Gamecocks taking on the Clem Sucks Tigers. I know how I can figure this out. The Clem Sucks Tigers. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, dude. No, it was November the 2nd was the first game. And I'm on our Instagram at that time, and I still just for some reason cannot find it. I have no idea. Bro. Unless I'm blind. Yeah, and this is October. This is end of October. I mean, if I go back and listen to the podcast, I don't know that I dropped a graphic, though. I really don't know that I dropped a graphic. I may not have, which is crazy if I didn't. Shame on me. Shame on me if I didn't drop a graphic. Shame on me, folks. Anyways, guys, what's going on? Of course, guys, quick reminder, I'll jump on Inside the Gamecocks tomorrow, 11:30. JC Sherbert will be on the show at 1:15. Really excited to chat with him. And, content is rolling, man. Content is bleeding out of the freaking eyeballs. Let's jump to the phone lines.
Call from
Robbie Davis, Zaxby's Hall of Famer.
Robbie, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing good. You look like you having a connection, trying to find to see if you made the predictions or not.
Yeah, no, I'm good, man. I just, a lot of content to comb through. So
see, that's what happens whenever you are a content creator. You lose all kinds of crap.
Yeah. I don't know. It is what
even
it is.
If you didn't make it, you think you lost it somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, what's going on, man? How's your day going?
Oh, good. It's going good so far. I decided that I'm not going to walk today because I walked a lot yesterday before the baseball game came on. So I'm not walking today. I'm resting today.
I love that. Love that. Sometimes you need that kind of day.
Oh, yeah. For sure. And after watching the baseball game last night, I'm going to stick to my guns and pick us to sweep. this weekend. I ain't got no scores in mind quite yet. I'll probably have them ready for you tomorrow, most likely. And I'll be sure to give them to you tomorrow before first pitch Friday.
I love that. Yeah. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on it, my guy. Excited to hear your thoughts on it.
But at the end of the day, I don't really care what happens. I just want us to win. Because anytime you can beat your rival in anything is a fantastic feeling. After the success that they've had in other sports, it's a great feeling whenever you know you could possibly do something that you know you're good at and beat your rival at it. And one thing I do know is that we are very good at baseball. And we have been over the last several years to an extent.
That is a fact, my friend. That is a fact indeed.
So, and kudos to Hicks again for pitching his tail off yesterday. Okay. Even though he didn't pitch for very long, he pitched his tail off. And I don't know. What is he? Is he a freshman, junior? What is he?
No, Hicks is a older guy. I think he's at minimum a junior. Because he was a guy that came from junior college.
Okay, well, if
he was
he's not.
Yeah, he was a guy that came from
Okay.
JUCO.
Okay.
Yeah. He's gone
But,
after this year, my guy. He got drafted. He got drafted after last year when he got injured. So, he stays healthy this year. He's he's definitely going to get drafted, and he'll be going.
Okay, so he's most likely going to be gone if he stays healthy.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. But he's doing pretty well for being a midweek guy, in my opinion. And in order, I think we need to just keep our head down and just, like I've said before the season started, just keep our head down, control what we can control. And when the times represent themselves, take care of business.
Mm-hmm.
And just let everything else take care of itself. Because as long as you win, and this goes for any sport, as long as you win, everything else doesn't matter. Just win. What somebody else is doing does not matter. What Clemson is doing does not matter. What anybody else in the SEC is doing does not matter, as long as you win. It doesn't matter. Just
Al
because if you
Davis
take
said
care of
it
your
best,
business-
Robbie. Robbie Davis said it best. Just win, baby.
just get the dub. I don't give a crap how you do it. Get the dub and take care of
Robbie
business.
Davis, son of Al
'Cause I'm not
Davis.
paying
Win,
you
baby,
to
win.
lose. I ain't paying you to lose. I'm paying you to get the dub. I ain't paying you to lose. So, but I don't know what it is. I'm going to speak on this real quick, but I don't know what it is about the basketball team. But for some reason, for this men's basketball team, we either play a great first half or we play a horrible first half, and then or we play a great second half or a horrible second half. We've never really played a great game all the way through, really. I mean, we played a great game last night, but the last 4.5 minutes, the tires exploded on the car and we didn't go nowhere. Couldn't get a rebound, couldn't make a shot. I mean, it was nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we had him for a little bit, man, but it's just kind of the same song and dance all year, and unfortunately, you just didn't get that. We just don't have
Right.
the guys down low. I feel like to really compete, but it's,
We don't. And that's one thing you need is guys that can rebound, guys that can get blocks, guys that can protect the rim, guys that are not afraid to get their hands dirty. All right? And we don't have those kind of guys right now on the men's basketball team.
Yeah, it'll be up to Lamont to build out the roster, and I wonder what next year will look
Right.
like. But we got one more game, and then SEC tournament play, and I don't, let's see, the SEC standings will probably be 11th or 12th seed or something. I don't know, but hey, maybe we can win a game or two. Who knows? Maybe we can be right now.
If we can somehow win a game or even two in the conference tournament, I'll be happy.
So right now, LSU's the 14 seed, and I don't know if so. Us and Ole Miss are both. So we're either going to be the 12 or the 13 seed because us and Ole Miss are 3 and 14 in the league. And I think didn't we beat Ole Miss? I think I don't know.
I think we did. I'd have to go back and look, but I think we did.
Yeah, we did beat Ole Miss. We did beat
sure.
Ole Miss 64-61. That's
Okay,
right.
yeah,
We beat them at their place, but we also lost to them. So
Right.
I think so. We've split with them. So I wonder if it'll come back to overall record, and if it does, we will be the 13 seed if it comes down to because they're one game better than us. So Georgia's
Right.
the next in line at 6 and 11. So that's pretty much all set as far as where South Carolina's going to be. We're either going to be the 12 or the 13 seed. So. Who knows? Maybe we will be playing on day one, though.
Yeah, you never know. When it comes to tournament time, you never know. I mean, that's one thing I love about March Madness. Okay, is if the top seed's not playing well, but the lower seed that they're playing is playing with their hair on fire and they're just out there playing the game. And just not nervous.
Yeah.
Those kinds of teams are dangerous when it comes to NCAA tournament.
Yeah. So I don't think we're going to have to worry too much about NCAA tournament though on the men's side. We're probably going to be one and done in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, we ain't got to worry about that. At least not right now. Right. But I think it's safe to say that the real season for the Carolina women has officially begun as of Wednesday.
Yes. Yeah. No,
we just got out of the preseason. Now we're in the
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the postseason, postseason play to start Friday. And, again, I'm sure Dawn Staley's team, they got a chip on their shoulder, right? If they're not getting it last year, but certainly they'll be the favorite. And, we'll see what happens, but I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited for it's
you
March.
You still got to play the game, like I've always said. You still got to play.
Yeah, it's March. March Madness is here, so as Dawn Staley's team pushes forward to another national championship. So,
but I think I'm switching back to baseball, but anyways. I think these 3 games against Clemson will be some great games. I think they'll be a lot closer than what we've had in the last couple of weeks. Solely, like you said, because of the history of both of the programs. But I'm hoping that we break out the brooms this weekend.
I mean, I think that's what we're all hoping for, Robbie. And I think let me just put it to you this way. Again, I'll drop my predictions tomorrow. There's a lot of reason, though. I mean, Gamecock fans should be confident. We should be confident, no doubt, right? You should be. We're perfect on the season, perfect 9-0. Clemson has lost 4 in a row, got swept by UCF, lost to USC Upstate last night. There's a lot of reason to be confident. But it is baseball at the end of the day. And like I mentioned earlier, that a desperate team can be a dangerous team in the sense of just playing with nothing to lose. And it can also be, a desperate team can be a team that you just have your way with and you bully all weekend. But a desperate team, in my opinion, can be a dangerous team also. And so, would it totally shock me if Carolina only won 2 out of 3? No. Would I be happy if we won 2 out of 3? Yes. Would I love to sweep? Yes. But, I think South Carolina is in a great position to take the series and also sweep as well. I mean, you look at just the pitching side of things. And, if you pick the Gamecocks to win 2 out of 3, what starting pitcher are you picking to lose, right? I think it's a bold pick no matter what, because Will Sanders is a first rounder.
Yeah.
Noah Hall's been electric, and Jack Mahoney's been great as well. And the bullpen's been, top notch also. So, I mean, and then you look at the hitting side of things, and, I think maybe if you wanted to have, say, some concerns, I mean, there's been some inconsistencies early, but all in all, it's been pretty solid. Scored 11 runs last night. I know it took you a little while, but scored 11 runs off 10 hits, and you've been really patient at the plate. And, then you look at what Clem Sucks has done. So there's a lot of reasons to be confident. I'm confident. Everybody should be confident. But, baseball is a crazy game, and you get in these rivalry series, and anything can happen. So that's why I'm just saying that is it possible that Clem Sucks will win a game? I mean, absolutely. Baseball is a wild game, but I think we should all be confident in that South Carolina, if they're able to go out there and take care of their business and play the game we've seen them play to this point, I feel confident this group will get the job done.
For sure. And I'm very excited, by the way, that the spring game is going to be at night. That's going to be awesome. Okay. I think a lot more schools should do that, in my opinion, is have night spring games because they're awesome. That was one of the most fun spring games I've ever been to in my life. But I'm really excited for this weekend. Gonna try to watch all 3 of the games if possible, and if I can't, I will definitely be watching the live stream for sure.
Yeah, I hope to have you, Robbie. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be an exciting weekend, no doubt.
Oh yeah, it always is on Carolina and Clemson's week for baseball. So, but I'll talk to you tomorrow, and have a great rest of your day. Okay.
I appreciate you, Robbie. It's always a pleasure chatting with you, my dude.
For sure. And as always, leave the dumb stuff to me.
Will do. Robbie, you're the man. Take care. Great stuff from Robbie Davis, 843-790-3377. I tell you, we haven't talked about it today, but this Jalen Carter stuff, wild. Absolutely wild. Crazy. Just crazy, bro. This whole thing that happened with UGA and the player that died, and it's just nuts, dude. It's just nuts. We shall see what happens. It's just, you kind of, I understand, like, you make a mistake, be held accountable. You feel bad, though, for guys that they have it all. They have the world, they have the world in the grasp of their hand, and it's just they make a mistake. And I mean, who knows? I think Jalen Carter probably will still get drafted and be fine, but it's just like, man, what a mess. What a mess. Let's jump to the phone lines here.
Call from
888.
Big Dick Dale, what's going on, babe?
Hey, man, it's Dale. What's up?
What's up? What's up? Just hanging out. How are you?
Hey, man, about to get out on the lake, man, do a little bit of fishing. It's beautiful out here.
What you like to fish for, Dale?
Well, mostly, women, but I'm going to be fishing for some bass today, Just some bass, maybe some little cracky.
How's your
The
fish?
reason I wanted to come.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
How's fishing
No,
these
go
days?
ahead. Get your shot.
How's fishing these days? How do you feel like you? I was going to say, I mean, I don't know which one you have more success in.
Well, I got a woman, so I ain't been fishing too much for the ladies these days. And Happy Women's Month, I was informed about that. I didn't even know that was a thing. But Happy Women's Month to all the women out there. Yeah, I've been fishing a lot more of the gill top, the little flippered kind these last few months and whatnot. But it's been going good. Just cut up a little weenie and put it on the hook, and I got my little bobber. I do a good job out here.
I love that.
Goodbye. But hey, look, the reason I called, man, is don't ever let Robin Davis or Zach Frost champion ever call in and address himself anything other than Sleepy Rob. Because good Lord, I about fell over trying to stay awake. I mean, he needs to go out and walk, get some energy. Stop standing in front of that microwave waiting on them little chicken tendies to cook. Because good Lord, it ain't good for your health. You got to get outside, smell the roses. There's pollen in there. That pollen do you some good, make your eyes water, like you're taking a shower of gin every 2 seconds out here. For some people, you know, that pollen get you going, but you can't tell if they're drunk or if they just got pollenized. But that fella right there, don't ever let him call in without calling himself Sleepy Rob. Good Lord.
I'm sure Robbie will take your advice and bring the energy. Yeah, I gotta imagine Robbie will have a response of some sort. Indeed.
Yeah, I hope so. Cause good Lord, I about fell off the lawnmower and cut up my leg because I about fall asleep listening to him. But anyway, you know, what do you think about my ball coach? Not, you know, I'm a Tennessee fan overall, but you know, what do you think about Ravioli or Vitello or whatever coming back from that little suspension? You think it was warranted?
Vitello.
Yeah, Michelangelo.
Yeah, it was a slap on the wrist. You know, I like Vitello as a head coach. He's a great coach. He's one of those guys you love if he's in your dugout. You hate him otherwise. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what did they really do to get the suspension? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's going to be a hell of a series in Columbia, though, between South Carolina and Tennessee. So,
yeah, as I say, they're going to be good again this year. You know, I ain't really a big baseball guy. You know, for the ball, but I do keep track of them. And last year, man, well, it really got me onto him though, because good Lord, he's a good looking fella. You know, he could really be somebody like a GQ model or something. I mean, he's a good looking guy. Got a mean chin line. You know, he got a good looking face. So, you know, I guess, you know, if he's cheating on the ball field, he probably knows his way around, you know, the ladies as well. You know, I ain't trying to speak evil on people, but he looks like he's been around, you know, doing a little fishing himself.
You might be right. I don't know. We'll never know.
Yeah, anyway, I just wanted to see what you thought about that little slap on the wrist or whatever. I mean, I'm glad to get him back out there because I think we're gonna be good again, but I don't know, man. Y'all look pretty good out there on the diamond. I keep track with the little ticker, you know, going across my Facebook feed from you. So I mean, it looks pretty good.
Yeah. Now I'm excited. The Gamecocks, I think, are really good this year. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch, see how it unfolds.
All right, well, Chris, I just wanted to wake you up a little bit, man. I seen you struggling to keep your eyes open, so I just wanted to holler at you before I got here on the boat and get some biters, you know. So Dale, I hope to talk to you soon, man.
Yeah, Dale, you're the man. I appreciate it. Take good care of Rebecca for us.
Man, that's all I do. Oh, did you see her post a couple weeks ago? Them roosters laid eggs, man. You see that? That was a Christmas like Valentine's America. I don't know. I don't know if it's.
I did see the rooster laid eggs.
I don't know what happened. I don't know how, if it was because I was warming them up with them microwaves over the winter that they somehow, right, a miracle happened. I don't know. It was amazing. But I was wondering if you seen that post. You was proud of them.
Yeah. No, I was a legend in the works, or a legend in the flesh for sure. Rebecca's a legend. So.
Yes, she is. She's a good girl. All right, buddy. I'll call at you later. BDD out.
BDD out. I love it. BDD. Thank you so much, Dale, for oh my goodness, what a time. Guys, one final break. We're live here on the Daily Crow, taking the questions, comments, calls, and more. You're tuned in. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls. 843-790-3377. Just a little bit over 5 minutes to go, guys. Something that just came to me during the break. And we'll have this conversation probably more in depth once it actually concludes. But I just wonder, like, how would you guys grade year one of Lamont Paris? Like, how do you evaluate it? Because on one hand, the expectations were really, really low, and fairly so, right? With what you lost and what you had coming back, and what you were going up against. But on the other hand, it's like it feels strange to, let's say, even if you win Saturday and you finish with 4 SEC wins, it feels weird labeling a season that, a season in which you only won 4 conference games is like a success. Like, we had a successful year. I don't even know how you judge success in year one of Lamont Paris, a year that I've said many times I think should probably be labeled as year 0. I don't even know how you do it. You know what I mean? So how would you grade it? How do you grade the year? I think probably a B. I mean, all things considered, I mean, you kind of are what you are. You were picked to finish dead last in the SEC. So the fact that you're going to finish better than that, I guess, should be looked at as, again, a success. You overachieved. You actually exceeded expectations. But did you improve as a basketball team? Did you develop down the stretch? I mean, did this team really improve? The fact that we're going into the last regular season game of the season and you don't have a home conference win, but you did beat the arch rival. You did beat the arch rival. You beat Kentucky on the road. I don't know. How would you grade it? I think it's just really tough because the expectations were so low, but it also is weird to label a potentially 4-win SEC season as a success. Like, we had a successful year. Like, that feels kind of strange. So anyways, just interesting. Luke RJ says C-. TaylorMade says B- or C+. Bruin Nation says C. TaylorMade says C+. Yeah, Bruin Nation, that's the other point. 4 40-point losses. I mean, that's just, nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody did. So, yeah, tough. Very, very tough. Very, very tough. So. Guys, there are just 9 undefeated teams in college baseball this season, or right now, I should say. There are 9 undefeated teams. Wake Forest, Georgia Tech, NC State, Virginia, Texas Tech, Alabama, Troy, Lamar, and your Gamecocks, who sit 9-0. Just 9 teams. Who will be the final undefeated? I tell you, if you sweep this weekend, I think there's a good chance you're the last team. I think there's a really good chance. You're the final undefeated team. Kara says, I say B- or C+. Fair enough. I think that's about right. A C grade, because it's one of those things where, yes, the expectations were low, but actually seeing it play out. And maybe that's why I didn't make a prediction graphic, because I was like, you know what? Nobody wants to see that. Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure I picked us to be like a 4-win or maybe a 5-win team in SEC play. That's why I wanted to see, because we set the expectations, I think, pretty fairly in the preseason. We set the expectations pretty fairly. So, again, guys, appreciate you all tuning in. In case you missed anything, be sure to check out TDC in podcast form on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, everywhere you get your podcast. Drops every single day at 3 o'clock after the show. Luke RJ says, I wanted to make a comment about playing the spring game against FCS schools or not playing FCS schools. I think going away from FCS games is almost like shorting the MLB season from 162 games. You just can't do it because of records. It would affect head coaching records and win percentages and bowl eligibility. I mean, there's things that would certainly affect Luke RJ. Baseball is such a game, though. Baseball is such a game that is driven specifically off of statistics, like statistical records and all that. I don't know that football is really, football is more so just based off, did you win national championships? Did you win rings? Did you win championships? When you're talking about Hall of Fame and baseball and all that, I think that, I don't know. That's why they're so hesitant to go away from the 162 games, because of those types of things. I get what you're saying, though. I do get what you're saying, but I don't know. I don't think they're going to change anything up, really, but we'll see. I like the FCS in the spring game idea. I think that would be a lot of fun. Guys, we've hit 2 o'clock. Appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you all so much again. Stay tuned for all of our content bleeding out of the eyeballs. It's a busy week, and we love that. Being busy is a blessing. The beauty's in the banter, and I truly appreciate every single one of you guys. Stay tuned, of course. TDC Rockin' All Week podcast will drop tomorrow to be a full preview of the Clem Sucks series, as well as some other things as well. Really excited for it. Also, great conversation that will take place with Mike Rooney of D1Baseball.com. Really exciting stuff. Again, guys, thank you all so much. Appreciate you all tuning in. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we will talk to you all